I have a super random haul here for you guys. So I'm going to start with two that were gifted to me, not from a company, but they were given to me by the gorgeous Danielle from my perfume journal. When she came over to visit, she asked if there was anything that I couldn't get in the UK that I wanted to try out. And so I had I had three, I think, but one of them was sold out, which was the Lavender. I still can't get hold of the Lavon's Trianon dupe made by Dua. For some reason, they don't have that in the UK, and they were sold out in America. So, but the other, I did joke that everything I asked for was a lavender perfume. But I did ask for two things that have lavender in. I'll start with the one that I was, in a way, the most excited about, because this is not like supposed to be a dupe of anything. This is its own thing. And it is being Frenshe Lavender Cloud. So she very kindly got me both the oil and the eau de parfum. So I think you can get this in a body spray as well. So there's different versions of this. So this, I believe, is a perfume by a American celebrity that I have no idea who she is. I don't know whether she's famous in the UK. She's called Ashley Tisdale, I think maybe she's called. I'm not sure if she's a singer or an actress. I didn't do any investigating into who she actually was. I was just interested in this because it is a lavender perfume. So this pops up. It's supposed to look like that, much nicer. So the gorgeous and wonderful Danielle picked these up for me. She brought these all the way to London so that I could smell them. And let's talk about them now, because this is kind of an interesting situation for me. Because I do love lavender, but obviously these were blind to me. And I do feel like the oil and the parfum don't quite smell the same. So I'm going to start with the oil. I can't remember if this came in a box. If it did come in a box, then I don't know what I've done with the box, but I think maybe it just came like this. The bottles are really cute. Yeah. So this is the bottle for the oil. There's a lot of oil in here. Now, the notes listed for the perfume oil, and this is like Unwind and Rest Lavender Cloud Glow On Perfume Oil from the Being Frenshe range. This lists cardamom, lavender and sandalwood. Now, the perfume, I should say, has one extra note, and I'll talk about that in a minute. This one, you definitely get a lot of lavender, but you get a hella dose of cardamom. And there's a bit of a sharpness here, and I'm not quite sure. I mean, it must be the lavender, but there is also a sweetness. So there's like a real mixture of things going on with this. And actually, I'm going to pull out now. I'm going to pull this out. What does it say on the back? It says, fresh lavender, milky sandalwood, sweet cardamom. Oh, upcycled Akigala wood. I think that might explain some things. I think that's what I'm smelling, that I'm finding a bit sharp in that oil. Now, I think maybe Fragrantica have just got this slightly wrong, but so the parfum version, there it is, lists pretty much exactly the same thing, except it also has milk listed. Now, that could just be because it says milky sandalwood and they've just done milk and sandalwood separately. But there is something slightly more creamy about the perfume compared to the oil. The cardamom's so strong here, and that Akigala wood does explain what I'm feeling is a little bit strange in both of these things, but and this makes me a bit sad to say it. It does make me sad. Especially because this was basically a present from the beautiful Danielle. But I feel like there's ambroxan in this. This is, I love this bottle as well. Look how cute that is. So good. I feel like when I spray this on my skin at first, I'm like, oh, that's cool. Because I like cardamom. I love lavender. Like I said, whatever, there's a kind of sharp bitterness that I'm not mad for, which I assume is not sandalwood, because I love a creamy sandalwood. makes much more sense if that's Akigala wood, which I've never seen listed anywhere for this. I've only seen that on the back here, upcycled Akigala wood. So yeah, so I like how this smells when I first spray it on, and then it really starts to get sharp and a bit headachy to me, and even smelling it now, a little bit headachy. And I think that is because it really gives me a vibe of having ambroxan in this spray. And unfortunately, like, the oil doesn't quite smell the same as the spray. Yeah, it's not quite, it doesn't have quite the same soft creaminess that I'm digging in this one. And the cardamom is so strong. I'd say the cardamom is kind of overwhelming the lavender to my nose, but I just think maybe there's some aroma chemicals in these that I am not getting along with. And I have repeatedly tried them, and I've tried them in different weathers now, because I don't want to not love something that Danielle brought me. But of course, I know that Danielle understands, and she knew that this was going to be completely blind for me. So it's not like I was asking for something that I knew I loved. But yeah, I don't love these. I was really hoping I would, but I really don't. So yeah, I don't know. Let me know if any of my lovely American viewers, do you have these? Have you tried the Being Frenshe line? How do you get on with them? Does anyone have this, and do you think there might be ambroxan in it, or do you think there's just something in it that's just rubbing me up the wrong way? I don't know, but yeah, I don't love these, and I might have to find another lovely fragrant friend who's been dying to get them in the UK, who I can share these with, because yeah, I obviously don't want them to go to waste, because they're really rare here. Like, I've never seen these in the UK, so thank you so much, Danielle, for getting this for me. Please still love me, even though these don't work for me. But yeah, I mean, thank God that they are not massively expensive, else I would feel horrifically bad. To be fair, I never would have asked for anything that was too expensive, because that would be outrageous to do. But yeah, I can't really get on with them. There's just definitely something that I don't love about them. But yeah, I tried. Okay, so the other thing, I just keep sniffing the thing because it's so upsetting. Like, that, the perfume version of Being Frenshe, if it didn't start to get headachy to me, the actual scent of the spray, I do actually quite like. Oh, never mind. Okay, so next on the list, this was one that I knew I would be safer with, because it is technically a dupe of something. The only danger for me was that it might have that tarry aroma chemical in it, but because the original doesn't have that, I wasn't too scared about that. So this is, oh my god, it's so big, Sapphire Avery, I think it's called, from Aroma Concepts. So this is a massive bottle. I don't think they do it in anything smaller. Huge bottle. You can get some Aroma Concepts in the UK, but for some reason I couldn't find this anywhere. I couldn't find any samples of it. And, so I was like, I know, Aroma Concepts is super affordable, Middle Eastern brand. So I was like, let's just try it. So this is basically a dupe. What an ostentatious bottle. This is a dupe of Lira by Xerjoff, from their Casmerati range. But it's a dupe of Lira that has a blueberry note in it. So I'm just going to take a quick spray of this. It's very sweet, as is Lira. That is a sweet, fruity lemon cake scent. Yeah, it smells almost exactly like Lira, but if Lira had just a couple of little blueberries sprinkled around. I don't think that the blueberry is like the main part of this at all. I think really and honestly, when it dries down, it does really just smell like Lira. And I think Lira smells like a slightly less complex, less salty version of Lolita Lempicka's Elder Lolita. It smells like some kind of lemon cupcake. A lemon muffin. In fact, you know what it smells like? Do any of you guys remember back in the day, you used to be able to get they were supposed to be low fat, but they were absolutely delicious. They used to do lemon poppy seed muffins in what's it called? Starbucks. And they made the low fat ones that didn't have like butter in them. And this kind of smells like that. But if you imagine there's just a couple of blueberries that have popped in there somewhere. But essentially, Lira. Now this has blood orange, blueberry in the top. Middle notes of cinnamon, licorice and jasmine. Base notes vanilla, caramel and musk. It's very sweet. It's very gourmand smelling. There's no stinky, nasty aroma chemicals that I can sense here. It really does smell like some kind of lemon muffin. And what I quite like about this is this does... when it dries down, when it's on my skin, and not so much when it's on paper, actually, to be honest. When it's on my skin, this develops the kind of licorice that you get in the original Lolita Lempicas, which to me is an almost cigarette ashy version of licorice. And that makes this much more interesting when it's on my skin, so it doesn't just become... I mean, don't get me wrong, this is not the time of year for me to be wearing this. This is way too sweet for me at this time of year. But when it gets cold, I think this is going to be a delicious sweet gourmand, and it has a real smoky feel from that licorice, which is really interesting and stops this being a little bit one note to me. You know, sometimes when something is this gourmand, I struggle a bit because it will make me feel a bit queasy. Yeah, and on paper, it is really just smelling so gourmand, like I'm almost 100% gourmand. On my skin, though, that licoricey smokiness, that, like I said, that cigarette-y smell starts to come out, and it kind of changes how this smells a little bit, but in quite an interesting way. So I'm looking forward to breaking this one out when it's cold and seeing how I get along with it. But thank you so much, Danielle, for the perfumes you bought me. Thank you for bringing them all the way to the UK. I massively appreciate it. And I'm sorry that I couldn't get on with Lavender Cloud. And man, that is the one that I thought would be an absolute shoe-in, but... Aroma chemicals be messing me up, guys. So anyway, that's Sapphire Avery, and that's from Aroma Concepts. Absolutely hunking, so heavy. Huge, heavy bottle. All right, that's going away till winter. So now we're going to move on to my random assortment of things that I've bought over, I mean, this is months and months and months. So we're going to start with this, which is so random. This is an absolute cheapie. This is a perfume called Lady Love from Saffron London. I have a few of the Saffron London dupes. I have their dupe of Poison, which is called Wild Cobra. I've got one called Jungle Cobra, which I think is maybe their approximation of Tender Poison, but to be honest, it just kind of smells like a slightly fresher, greener version of the original Poison, not too much like Tender Poison. And then I have their Mamba Juice, which is an excellent dupe of the Pure Poison. And I think the original formulation of Pure Poison, I think it's a really lovely dupe of that. So Lady Love, let me take it out and see if any of you can guess what this is supposed to be. I mean, it doesn't look like it really. And it's a horrible bottle. The Saffron London bottles are generally quite horrible and cheap looking. But that's why they are cheap. So this is Lady Love. I will have to spray this one out again. I haven't smelt this for a little while, but this is, I think, supposed to be a dupe of Lady Gaga's Fame, the one in the black bottle with the gold lid, and I've never managed to smell that one. It's obviously discontinued. I was only really interested in it because it has honey in it, but when I saw this one and I saw other people, I think there's a list somewhere I found online that said this was a Fame dupe. Now, you don't get any notes. You can't ever find notes for the Saffron London thing, so if I'm wrong, I apologise, but I think I'm probably correct. Whether this is a good dupe or not, I can't tell you because I've never smelled the original, but I just wanted to smell this because I think it's a dupe and I think that perfume has honey in it. So the notes in Lady Gaga Fame: incense, belladonna and saffron in the top. Middle notes of honey and apricot. Base notes of orchid and jasmine. And this does really smell like apricot to me. It smells like a flowery apricot. I can definitely get orchid and jasmine. I'm not really sure what belladonna smells like. I don't find this massively incensey, but it is kind of interesting in an unusual way, which, I mean, sometimes I feel with saffron, there's like a little bit of a strange, almost plasticky smell sometimes, and I do get a bit of honey, but this is not very sweet. This is tangy. Again, I don't know if the original's tangy, but this is just a kind of apricot-y floral. It's not one that I'm particularly excited about. I don't think it smells particularly nice on me. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, let me know if you've ever smelt the original Fame, and if what I'm saying sounds like it might be anything like it, but this was just one that I just bought on a whim, and I thought I'm going to test it out because I was in a bit of a honey mood. And I'm not really getting enough honey here to be that bothered by it. I'm getting much more fruitiness. It's maybe a touch shampoo-y. I don't love it. It's good that it doesn't have any like off-putting woods. It doesn't have patchouli, so I think there'll be people who really enjoyed this, but I don't really enjoy that tangy apricot so much with those florals, so it's not really for me. But that was Lady Love by Saffron London. Very, very random. Okay, let's do the other really random one, which is Trocadero. So this is from Maison Heritage, Paris. I think this is supposed to say mango and musk if it was in English. So Maison Heritage are one of those brands that I've seen, and they're quite expensive normally, but for some reason they often turn up in TK Maxx. And this was the one I was interested in because it's listed on Fragrantica as being apricot and mango. So another apricot. But I really like a bit of mango, and I thought this would be a really fun one to test out. I have had this in my box to review possibly for a year now, and I just finally was like, just do it. Okay, I'm going to spray this out. It's got a lovely bottle. It looks very smart. But I think it was maybe like £10-15 when I bought this from TK Maxx. This has the aroma chemical in it that is just pure screech to me. It is needle in the eye, sharp and screechy. Which is a shame because it has a nice mango in it, and it kind of smells, if you can imagine, like a mango jelly. Gosh, yeah, it's truly making me think of a jelly, but then with a disgusting kind of head-splitting, perfumey nastiness in there as well. Oof, no. I mean, I can't even really say it's shampoo-y because I feel like no shampoo could smell this harsh. But I do understand, because I've smelled it in so many perfumes, this is some kind of aroma chemical that absolutely cracks my head open. Like, I instantly regret spraying this. So yeah, Trocadero by Maison Heritage is just not for me. I'm sure there'll be people who love it, but this for me is just like, oh, it's like vodka, mango jelly, and I don't know, paint thinner or something like that. It's just a nightmare for me. So yeah, a real shame. Cool colour, nice bottle, and you know, the mango note, nice. Everything else, not nice. So that's a quickie. Okay, let's talk about some things. I realise this haul is predominantly things that I'm getting rid of, I think, but that's sort of accidental. But they are mainly blind buys, to be honest, so you know, this is kind of what happens. Next one, Nectar Love from DKNY. As I said, I was on a bit of a honey kick. I was wanting to smell honey perfumes, and this one I saw on Latino for like such a cheap price. These are the new bottles, which I think are rather cute, to be honest. They haven't got, I think the original has like something here, like a little bee or something. It's got a little bee on the glass, a little hole in the top. So let's spray this out. I was so disappointed with this. I really was. I think the bottle's cute. But also, I think I have to admit to myself, I have never found a DKNY perfume that I like. I don't have any in my collection. And I reckon in terms of things I want to keep, I have 250 perfumes and not a single one of them is from DKNY. This starts off okay. and it becomes more and more nasty as it dries down. This is another one that I think has loads of aroma chemicals in it. It's just kind of sharp and bitter while also having a sweetness. I just can't deal with whatever's going on here. It has a tarry dry down, which is an aroma chemical that I hate. But it starts off nice and you get that beeswax coming through, but it just gets so floral and so tarry and woody. So this is top notes of solar notes, nectarine, yellow freesia, mandarin orange and grapefruit. Mid notes of mirabelle, that's I think mirabelle plum, is it? Jasmine, lily of the valley. Base notes of beeswax, vanilla, musk, cedar and neroli. When that beeswax comes through, I'm like, nice, let that get stronger, let it get more honeyed, but no. It's definitely solar notes. It does have that kind of sunscreeny kind of almost feel to it. The nectarine's really sharp. The beeswax is a little bit indolic. There's a little bit of a pissy smell here, but not enough to bother me personally. But man, the jasmine here, I think, is a problem, and the cedar is a problem. And it, like I said, it develops a tarry, burnt smell as it dries down, which is an aroma chemical that I don't like. But I do like that beeswax note, and it's a real shame because this one just really takes a nasty turn and it's no good at all. So the only thing with this though is that it does genuinely smell very similar to the Avon honey perfume. I think what's that called? Petite Bee or something like that, or Petite Honey. I have that one as well. I think there's less of the beeswax smell and less of the honey smell in that than there is in this. But it has a very similar scent, and it honestly has that same problem in the dry down, that it goes kind of tarry and bitter. I actually also recently had a sunflowers, an Elizabeth Arden sunflowers that has a beeswax note, and that has the same issue in the dry down. It becomes very floral, a little bit bitter. Now, like I said, this is a shame. I think that the florals are stronger than I'd liked, but there's a lot of nectarine, there's a nice beeswax, but yeah, it just turns into something that I can't wear. But a lot of people love this one. I do like the beeswax in that. I can't lie though, guys, that one has really made me cough, so I'm putting this away. Someone else is going to have to take that off my hands because it's not for me. So DKNY Nectar Love is not a Nectar Love for me. I can't. I think I'm just not going to try DKNY anymore because I think they're just not a house that I can get on with. This next one, guys, is so random because if you've seen me reviewing the Discovery set from Tocca, you'll know that I did not like this particular perfume. But I also tested out the oils, and the oils they all smelt slightly different from the original. Some didn't smell as good. So like Cleopatra didn't smell as good. Florence, to be honest, I didn't even try Florence because I hate the perfume of Florence. I don't like those buttery florals, so I just gave that one away. But both Giulietta and Stella, the oil versions, so the oleo versions, smelt, I think, even better than the actual perfumes. Colette wasn't included in that for some reason, but because they have the body oil of Colette, I thought, I saw this for such an insanely bargainous price, and it's 100ml of the body oil. I just thought I might as well try it and see how I feel about it. So here is the lovely bottle of Tocca Colette Olio, which I think, what's the full name? What do they call this? Olio Sublime Scented Dry Body Oil. I really like the texture of these. They are dry and they are lovely. They're lightly fragranced though. They're not strong. So this was an interesting one because Colette the perfume gets compared to Gypsy Water by Byredo. And I found Colette to be very powdery and a bit sickly sweet, and I didn't really get, like, people say it's a kind of green sort of vanilla, the same way that Gypsy Water is. But I don't really get loads of vanilla from Colette. It was more like a kind of almost tonkery sweetness, a slightly sugary sweetness. Actually reminded me less of Gypsy Water and more of something like, certainly texture-wise, something a bit more like Laguna from Salvador Dali, which was another one I really struggled with. But loads of people love Colette, so, you know, it's just not my kind of thing. The body oil, though, I think smells quite different to Colette, and I think that's because it's in oil form, it doesn't really have the possibility of going powdery. So the notes in Colette are Amalfi lemon, bergamot, juniper berries and mandarin orange in the top. The mid notes are violet, pink pepper, jasmine and cyclamen. Base notes are vanilla, sandalwood, musk, amber, Virginia cedar, incense and pine needles. Now, firstly, this one is smelling very, very, very unisex to me in a way that I feel like the other one didn't smell, like the perfume version didn't smell quite so unisex. I'm getting a hint of the lemony things, but I'm getting a little bit more of the more aromatic, the more green, the more kind of foresty scents here. So I'm getting the juniper berries for sure, I'm getting the pine needles, I'm getting a sweetness, a little bit of floral, a little bit of woodiness, quite musky. But I'm not really getting the violety feel, and I think in a weird way I find this one a little bit closer to Gypsy Water, although there's something about the dry down of Gypsy Water that I really don't like. I kind of find it smells a little bit like a cleaning product. But this one's kind of cute. It's almost it's almost feeling too unisex for me though, this. I'm not entirely sure if I like this enough to keep it. But at the same time, I do keep smelling it. So, yeah, I'm going to have to play around with this one a little bit more and see how I feel about it, because it might just be that in, like, hot heat, this is going to be a beautiful, subtle scent that I can wear. I can, like, moisturise with it. And then that will be my scent of the day. Or, like, it'll only last for a couple of hours, to be fair. But it's definitely smelling nicer to me now than when I first got it. And I got it in cold weather. So I think maybe this just needs a bit of heat, and I'll give it another go and see how I feel. But I do think that the Olio version here is not quite the same as the perfume. And I think people who really like the perfume would probably not like this so much, just because I think it's quite different. But because I don't really like the perfume too much, I think this one is the nicer version. But yeah, I do really like the Olios if you can get them for a good price. I do think the Tocca Olios are really nice. I have a bottle of Stella Olio, and I think that one's beautiful, and I can wear that one as like a moisturiser and smell delicious, and then just top up with the perfume. I would really like the Giulietta one, because I think that the Giulietta Olio is nicer, is like the things I like about Giulietta without so much of the kind of smelling like a candle thing that I get with that. But yeah, I think this one's nice. If you see it and you like things like Gypsy Water, then you might really enjoy this. So yeah, if you see it for a bargain, I think you can get this on Amazon for a crazy like under 30 quid price right now. So yeah, that was really fun to try. My voice has gone all funny because I had a coughing fit after that DKNY. So I'm going to end this video here. This is my very, very random assortment of perfumes. And let me know if you have any of these. Let me know what you think about them. Thank you so much to Danielle for providing me with the first couple of scents that I had here. And thank you everyone else for watching. You are wonderful. If you like my videos, please do consider subscribing because it really helps my channel. All right, guys, I'll see you soon. Bye.